Tea time. Honestly, I struggled with making this video because last time I had a few things that I didn't really care for about living in the Cleveland area, but this time around I couldn't really think of any more that I had any real issues with, and just the different downsides that are associated with it. I love the weather here. I love the fact that we get all 4 seasons. I don't really mind the fact that we only get 170 sunny days a year, whereas other cities are getting something like 250 plus. I love that we have such expansive metro parks, a national park, and we even live on a Great Lake, so it's just a ton to do outside. And when they say stuck in Ohio, they actually mean it. It's an amazing place to live, and honestly, I'll probably never leave. Now, my name is Sam Ohler, and I'm a realtor in the greater Cleveland area, so if you're thinking about moving this way, feel free to reach out to me, but I need to stick to today's topic, which is going to be the downsides of living in Cleveland. So while I was setting everything up for this video, like I said, I was having issues trying to figure out what I was going to say. So I cheated a little bit and had ChatGPT come up with a few different reasons on why people are not wanting to move to this Cleveland area. And a lot of them I used in my last video, so I'm not going to reuse them. If you want to know what they are, definitely go check that one out. But it did give me 4 different downsides to living in the greater Cleveland area that I thought were pretty fair and I'd want to know about if I were moving here as well. So today we are going to be going over those, and starting with number 1, we have Cleveland's economic factors. While Cleveland has seen a lot of revitalization, it has a lot of challenges as far as its economy goes. It's one of those cities where job opportunities may not be as abundant as other cities in the United States, and also the cost of living is significantly different in regards to property taxes. Here it is a lot higher. Now, on the topic of jobs, when you think of opportunity for white-collar jobs and self-made individuals, you're probably thinking of places like California, New York, Nevada, Texas. Cleveland is probably not going to end up on that list of places that you're going to come up with. And that rings pretty true. While there are a lot of jobs depending on what your area of specialization is, we're not going to have as much to offer as a place like California. But here in Cleveland, we do have some world-renowned hospitals. We've got tons of engineering jobs, there's a lot of financial jobs, but the main thing is we find ourselves needing more blue-collar workers. Now, I'm not sure if it's like this in other parts of the country, but I'm assuming it is, where blue-collar workers are few and far between as far as the good quality being produced at a decent price. I know a lot of the times you get what you pay for, but in my opinion, that needs to be within reason. It just almost seems like people don't want to work hard anymore, but honestly, it's for a good reason. Nowadays, you can get a stay-at-home job that isn't as taxing on your body, and it's a similar pay to what these guys are making out working these hard labor jobs. And honestly, that's not super fair in my opinion, so I would do the same thing as well. I still want to be able to move around when I'm 40 years old, but these people working blue-collar jobs deserve to get paid in accordance to their physical exertion, just because it's going to be so taxing on them in the future. But that's a whole different problem that's not just Cleveland based, so I'm not going to get into that right now. Now, if you really think about it, with Cleveland having less opportunity compared to some of these other bigger cities, I think that's more of a personal opinion and an excuse. No matter where you live geographically, you're probably going to be able to create some source of opportunity to create the lifestyle that you want to live. Ah, that's some good stuff. All right, so that brings us into point number 2. And on this topic, we are going to be covering something that is more accustomed to if you're living downtown. A lot of people who relocate here may be used to the city life and not want to have any sort of car. And something that we're incredibly lacking on here in Cleveland is going to be public transportation. And realistically, it's not that bad compared to some of these major cities. So here in Cleveland, we are going to have your regular bus system that goes all around, even to the suburbs. Also closer to downtown, you're going to have the Rapids, which brings you into a few of the suburbs. There's a few different lines that you can choose from, but it's not as complex as something that you would see in, say, New York, where these subway systems can take you almost exactly where you need. So if you're looking for some sort of subway or rapid transit system that is super extensive, this might not be the place for you. But between that and the buses, you're going to be able to get to most places that you need to go without a car. And the other nice part about Cleveland is that I've never really had an issue getting any sort of Uber, Lyft, taxi service here. They're all pretty readily available based on demand. So as long as you have an app or some sort of phone number to order the service, you're going to be able to get a ride. But keep in mind that these taxi services aren't just driving around looking for people to pick up. Realistically, if you're moving here, you should probably have at least one car in your household, just so that way you can get around super easily. And in most places downtown that you live, you are going to be able to park your car and store it safely. Now, as far as safety goes in the greater Cleveland area, that is going to bring me into point number 3, which is going to be the crime rates that we have here. Now, nationally, we are above average on the crime that exists here. However, if you look at any urban area in the United States, there's going to be a lot of crime more central to the metropolitan area. And as you start to get outside of it into the suburbs, you're going to have a little bit more safety. And if you're moving here and want a house, chances are you're probably going to be living in one of these suburbs anyways. So you're not really going to have a huge concern as far as safety goes. If you're really concerned with safety, I would definitely recommend looking at the crime maps around the Cleveland area just so you can get a lay of the land and understand what areas are worse than others, and you could draw your own conclusions from that. I'm not going to be the person to determine what you feel is safe or not. If you want to get a general idea of safety in the surrounding suburbs for Cleveland, a lot of Ohio's best high schools are located here. So in my experience, that is a pretty good indicator on the quality of the life that you are going to get within the cities, is based off of the public schools that they have to offer. Now, moving into our fourth and final point for downsides to living in the greater Cleveland area, it's going to be the overall taxes. I touched on this briefly at the beginning of the video, and the property taxes here are honestly kind of insane. Now, let me show you exactly what I mean by that, and for that, I'm going to hop on Zillow really quick, but give me 1 second because I do not have my phone on me. Now I keep my phone on black and white, so give me a second to turn that off as well. This is just a thing that I do to keep my usage down. It makes it really undesirable for me to want to use my phone, so just a second. Accessibility, display and text, color filters, off. All right, now I'm back in today's century. So what I'm going to do for this experiment here, as far as showing what the taxes are like, I am going to open Zillow and compare it to a city in Arizona, let's say, at maybe a $600,000 price point. So let's see what we got here. We got Cuyahoga County, Ohio homes. I want something that's 600K. All right, let's see this one. This is a showcase home for $570. Okay, so we got 1974 square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath, $570,000 in Cleveland, Ohio. Now we're going to scroll all the way down to where the property taxes are for this, and it looks like taxes are sitting right around $3,800 or so for this one. Let's pull a Rocky River or Bay Village here, $645,000 in Westlake, Ohio. Now this house is pretty average. It's a big house. It's 4,000 square feet. You do get a little bit more bang for your buck living out here compared to different cities, but let's see what the property taxes are going to land. You're going to have $7,500 as far as property taxes go, and that is insane compared to the $3,500 that you would have in Cleveland. Now, this is purely based off of city. Westlake has some amazing high schools, and they have a lot to offer as far as what the community has for its residents. That's what I mean when I say property taxes are kind of expensive out here. But let's just type in Arizona. I'll pick a random $500,000, $600,000 house. Maybe we can find something in Phoenix. 720, 600K. We got 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. And look at that, taxes are only $2,000 compared to the almost $8,000 that you're seeing in Westlake, and even the $3,500 that you see in Cleveland, which is going to be a less desirable location as far as what you are going to want to live in if you are shooting for a suburb. So hopefully that puts it into perspective as far as what the cost is out here. It's definitely a lot more as far as property taxes go, but you are going to make that up with the size of house that you receive for the price that you're paying. Houses here are much more common to be way cheaper than places like Arizona, so you are going to be able to get a big size house on a large lot for that cheaper price. So it's kind of a trade-off, but it still kind of sucks in my opinion. Now, the other thing regarding taxes in the greater Cleveland area that I hate personally is going to be the RETA tax. Now, that is just another income tax based off of if you work in a different city than you live in, and that is only in Cuyahoga County. So what happens is you pay taxes in the city you work in for your income, and then you also pay taxes in the city that you live in based off of your income. So it's just an additional tax that is just a pain in the butt. Now, the way around this is to live in a township in the greater Cleveland area if you want to be in Cuyahoga and close to downtown, or you could leave Cuyahoga County as a whole and go to something like Lorain or Medina, and there you're not going to have to pay that tax. However, you will be further geographically from downtown Cleveland itself, and you're probably going to be at least a 30-minute drive on a good day that is clear. But keep in mind, we have rush hour here, and if you have to commute down that way daily, you're probably going to be spending 45 minutes to an hour in traffic. So those are the few things that ChatGPT pointed out for me that other people have complained about that I think are completely reasonable to know about before you move here. But that really concludes my list of negatives as far as living in the Cleveland area. I don't really have a whole lot of them myself, but I am able to overlook the ones that I do have because just everything that this area has to offer, I just absolutely love about it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was born here, but I think it is an amazing place to live. I left here to go to school for 7 years, so I did experience living in a different city, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. I did find myself longing to come back here, as cheesy as it sounds, and now that I'm back, I'm happier than ever. So take that as you will, and if you're thinking about moving to this area, feel free to reach out to me. All of my contact information is down in the description, and if you find yourself down there trying to reach out to me or checking out my other social media, before you go, click that like button and subscribe because it's going to keep you up to date with everything that's going on in the greater Cleveland area. And I try to give you a pretty good idea as far as what it's like realistically to live here. Now, with all of that being said, I'm going to leave the video there. I'll catch you in the next one. Hot dang, that is some good Earl Grey. Fun fact, if you want to make a London fog, I definitely recommend that because these are my new favorite drinks to have right now. It's a little bit of whole milk. I mix about 3/4 water and 1/4 milk, pretty heavy squeeze of honey, and then a little bit of vanilla, and you got yourself something called a London fog. And I never had it until I recently went to Canada, and it is amazing. Pro tip for you if you made it all the way to the end. Catch you in the next one.